You're watching Kenosha Community Television.
Welcome to Gateway Connection, the program that offers an inside look at the people, programs, and efforts of Gateway Technical College to connect with the communities, people, and industry it serves. Gateway Connection.
Hello and welcome to Gateway Connections. I'm Jane Herring, the Marketing Director for Gateway Technical College, and we're honored today to be joined by President Bryan Albrecht. And welcome to the program.
Thank you, Jane. It's great to be back.
And it's such an exciting time at Gateway, and then you scared us all by learning that you were a finalist at UW Stout. And I know we want to address that a little bit. We're glad that you made the decision to stay with us.
Well, thank you, Jane, and I'm equally glad that I'm here. I mean, Gateway has got such a great reputation throughout the Wisconsin Technical College system, and my partnerships with all of our university friends, including UW Stout, means a lot to me personally. It also means a lot to the college, and I think you probably read in some of the articles that I'm a three-time graduate of UW Stout, so there was a big draw to try to go back and see if I could add any value to the institution there. But when it was all said and done and I had a chance to do some comparison about what we have right here at Gateway, I'm so inspired by the work of our faculty and our staff and the end results of the success of our students that this is really where I need to be, and it's where I want to be, because it really creates a nice opportunity for myself and for my wife Lisa, who's the principal over at Westosha Central, to continue with the great work that is being done in our communities and hopefully be a champion for students at Gateway.
And you use the word community, and I know you really mean it because you're incredibly involved in the community, but I think that tends to be what sets technical colleges, and particularly Gateway, apart from other institutions, is that flexibility to really respond to community needs, and I know that's very important to you.
Yeah, you know, absolutely. Gateway was founded in 1911 on the very premise that it was going to serve our community, and at that time, of course, the local economy was changing, and the idea of creating a higher education workforce training institution called a continuation school was very important to helping people find their place in a changing economy, just like it is today. In 2014, we continue to find ways to engage our community around the value of education, how they can leverage Gateway Technical College to either retrain existing skill sets or new students coming into our system for the first time looking for those jobs, and how do we find the right applications and the right knowledge and skills. And Gateway's been fortunate for over 100 years to be able to provide that service. And so being close to the community is critical for the success of Gateway. And fortunately, it's something that I like to do. I do like to be involved in the community because I learn an awful lot about our community when I have a chance to attend local meetings and participate in discussion groups around, you know, what values our community holds near and dear. And hopefully that is transitioned into new program options at Gateway and better services for our students.
Well, I know I'll throw out the number of boards that you're involved in, and people, you know, ha ha ha, Jane's exaggerating again. But it's true, right? What's the count up to these days?
I think right now we're at 54 boards.
Nationally and locally.
Right. You know, you have to kind of put that in perspective because I get a lot of questions on that as well.
Sure.
Some come with the job, of course. You know, when you're talking about the Kenosha Area Business Alliance or the Racine County Economic Development Corporation or Walworth County's Economic Development Corporation, those are important aspects of Gateway, and as the president of the college, it's my duty and my responsibility to serve on those boards and have a perspective of what's happening within the business sector. There are several that transitioned throughout my entire career: the National Occupational Competency Testing Institute Board, the Manufacturing Skill Standards Board, the National Association for Manufacturing Board, the Biopharmaceutical Board. All bring context at a much broader level, so I can find ways to align the services of Gateway with state and national organizations so that our students are positioned to not only serve our community here, but as they progress in their career, but to be ready for global competitiveness. And we hope that our companies located right here in the Tri-County area value that aspect that our students have, having a local presence but a national view.
What I want to make sure the audience understands, now there are certain boards you have to be a member of, such as the President's Association for Wisconsin Technical College
Correct.
System. But these national boards that you just mentioned for manufacturing, it's not like every college president is serving on that.
Right. No, it's actually pretty unique that we're involved in so many national organizations. I think it helps to not only solidify Gateway's great reputation, and a lot of folks want Gateway to have a presence in their leadership element, whether it's serving on a board or on a task force or a committee. We also host a lot of events on our campus, many national events. In fact, in July we'll host the National Coalition of Certification Centers. 200 people from around the country will be here to go through industry credential training, and we'll host a leadership summit along with that. And this month we're so fortunate to receive the Great Lakes Manufacturing Award in Michigan. We received the M Award, which is the Manufacturing Institute's National Award, and ACT, the Testing Association, identified Gateway as the national nominee from Wisconsin as being the most progressive in college and career pathways. So we get a lot of visibility with it, and we get a lot of contextual application, so best practices, new directions for legislation, where is industry going, and how can we stay aligned with the needs of the industry. And I'll share with you that that's actually how some of our new programs are developed. Our nationally recognized boot camp training program is one of those good examples. We integrate MSSC manufacturing certifications as a result of my service on the board with MSSC. We award a college readiness certificate. We award a snap-on certificate as a result of that. So our programs are enhanced by having the visibility at the national level, and then bringing those national programs to Gateway so that our students in Racine, Kenosha, and Walworth County can take advantage of that.
We were talking earlier today that we're interviewing a number of students and graduates, and that really is something they bring up, are these great opportunities to learn these skills and then have that certified so that employers recognize that they really do have industry standard training.
Yeah, that's really important for us in today's economy. Not only the direct alignment between secondary and post-secondary, high school and college, two-year college and four-year universities, which we just signed some great articulation agreements with UW Parkside and UW Milwaukee, again, to extend that transition. But then also the alignment with local industry needs. So those are the industry certifications. And at Gateway, we offer over 93 certifications that are industry-driven. So I like to say nearly every one of our programs has multiple credentials. You're going to get an education credential, it might be a diploma or an associate degree, but you're also going to get an industry credential. So it might be your manufacturing certificate, your IT certificate, and healthcare certificate. So you're able to demonstrate to a potential employer that, yes, you have the knowledge and skills because you've demonstrated them in a classroom, but you also have the industry connection, which means that you've been able to measure yourself against some level of industry standard. It might be a state or a national standard, and I think that adds value to our students' experience here at the college.
Well, we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we'd like to talk a little bit more about kind of the state of Gateway today and talk about some of the new programs and the growing program areas and the facilities that need to be equipped in order to deal with those new programming demands. So we'll be back with more of Gateway Connection right after this. We're back with Gateway Connections, and our guest today is Dr. Bryan Albrecht from Gateway Technical College, our president. And we have been talking about some of the more global aspects of where Gateway fits in and how some of these certifications come to be. But let's talk about today's programming, because there's so much going on. Every time I turn around, there's either a program that's being introduced, an old program that's going to sleep for a little while so that it can be refit for today's demands. I mean, it's constantly staying pace with industry demands.
Yeah, it has to be one of the most exciting times to be in higher education, and especially at Gateway, because I like to think of ourselves as an innovation college. And to do that, we have to continually monitor our progress. So we do an assessment of every program every year, and we take the bottom 10% performing programs and we reinvest in those to make sure that they have all the right competencies and skills, and we have local industries that are going to support those. And if they don't, we begin to close those programs down and bring in new programs. At the other end of the spectrum, we take our high flyers, our top 10 programs, and we continue to try to find ways to be innovative to make sure that, can they be branched off? Can we offer new programs that are related to that field? And it's all driven by market demand. So we're really in touch with what's happening in the local economy. Some good examples. This year, for example, we opened our ophthalmology program. We've had a lot of healthcare programs at Gateway, from some great surgical tech programs, dental programs, nursing programs, associate degree and LPN, CNA programs. We never did anything in eye care. So our new ophthalmology program on the Racine campus has been a spin-off of some of the other great work that we're doing, and I think will add another new dimension to what Gateway is able to provide for our students.
And that's starting as a grant-supported program and then growing into a degree or diploma program?
Yeah, correct. Resources are important. How do we invest,
Yes.
whether it's local taxpayer resources, or many times we seek state or federal grants in order to help start new programs, because it gives us a chance to kind of test the market to make sure that we have good employment opportunities for our students. We're quite proud of the fact that we have an 88% placement rate 6 months out of graduation, so we want to maintain that high level of commitment. To do that, we made some other strategic moves at the college. We've reinvested in an employment placement service. First time we've ever had
Yes,
that. We have
that's
new
wonderful.
folks on staff that are helping to align the job requests that we get from industry with the job graduation programs that we have, so students are directly connected. Lots of career fairs you're seeing on campus now, so we're bringing a lot of employers on campus to recruit students. But it's in all sectors. Our IT programs are growing. We're taking a look at new programs in gaming and security, data management programs. I mentioned some healthcare programs. Manufacturing continues to grow. Logistics is one of the new hot areas with all the companies moving into southeast Wisconsin, especially in transportation, logistics, and distribution. So we've opened up a new logistics program. And we continue to look for where those key market values are for our students. And I think if we continue to stay focused on local economies and trying to do assessments of our existing programs, our students will continue to be successful finding that job.
And we are seeing a lot of new companies coming into, I'm most familiar, of course, with the Kenosha area, but it definitely is a boom, and more people, because of Amazon, are looking at Kenosha. Right. But I think a lot of people don't realize that Gateway is at the table in many of these discussions.
Well, it's important that we are. If you go back to sort of the role that Gateway plays in helping provide a talent pool or a workforce system for our community, when a company comes into a new community, the first thing you want to find out is, could they sustain a workforce? Do we have enough people with the skills to keep their doors open? So with the help and part of the partnership idea between the Kenosha Area Business Alliance, Racine County Economic Development Corporation, Walworth County EDA, we've been able to position ourselves to not only provide good examples of how we can customize our training, so we can do customization of what an employer needs, the broad base of the skill sets that we provide, serving close to 24,000 students this year. We've got a wide spectrum of students that are looking for jobs, that are being retrained, and we can align those jobs, those students and those jobs with the types of skill sets employers need. And then equally important, I think, helping to develop the conversation around how do you sustain a workforce. So we do a lot of customized training, and we do a lot of what we would call traditional higher education degree programs. Most people are familiar with the college environment, where you enroll in a class and you take a series of classes and ultimately get a degree. The other half of what we do, nearly 50% of our students, come through Gateway because of a recommendation by an employer, or it's a customized contract that we might have with a company like Ocean Spray or Incinerator or S.C. Johnson to really specifically train a group of individuals to meet that particular need. It might be an assembly line, it might be in a production area, it could be in something that is coming out brand new, new robotics or automated systems controls.
Gateway is very involved in many of these apprenticeships, and the numbers are just skyrocketing.
Yeah, I think we tripled the number of apprentices we have this year, and great credit to the State of Wisconsin Department of Workforce Development and Karen Morgan's leadership, and of course directly affiliated with what the governor has made the year of apprenticeship for Wisconsin, and a lot of outreach to local businesses, because apprenticeship takes an employer. An employer has to recruit a student and then enroll them in an apprenticeship program, and Ocean Spray has been a champion for us in that area this year. I think we're up to 150 apprentices right now in a wide variety of different occupational areas, including some brand new ones that Gateway is piloting for the state, including water treatment apprenticeship programs, some healthcare apprentices. So areas in which are sort of non-traditional for the apprenticeship market, Gateway is providing leadership in helping develop those new training programs.
And programs require facilities and equipment, and I know that you're doing a lot of moving around of things in order to accommodate that. Maybe we can start with the Vet Tech program out at our Elkhorn campus and explaining what all had to happen to make that work.
Sure. You know, as we evaluate each program each year and make changes with the programs, so too must the facilities in order to ensure that students have the right labs and the right classrooms to learn and gain the skills that they need to meet with those industry expectations. So we have been making a lot of changes, and I see that that's probably part of the process now at Gateway as we refine our programs. But Elkhorn's getting a big shot in the arm. They needed it. Our south building there is going through a complete revamp. We're going to have some new conference spaces in there. We're going to have some new programming options in there, expanded manufacturing programs, and as you mentioned, new veterinary science programs. So that takes different types of lab settings for that. We're very excited about that. We know that Walworth County, and including all of the counties that we serve, there's high demand for veterinary science programs, as well as the others that I mentioned in manufacturing or IT or business or healthcare programs. The Kenosha campus is getting another big renovation as well. Anyone driving down 30th Avenue probably saw a lot of the construction. But
what are they doing?
Yes,
I hear that so often.
We're building out a new student success center there. So part of our effort, of course, is to attract students to Gateway. So that's our physical appearance of the building and the great programs that we have. But then also to retain students. So to retain students, it takes quite an effort to make sure that they have access to financial aid, to grant programs, to counseling services, to career prep services, and those study skill sets that are necessary to be successful. So retention is a very big part of our mission at Gateway, and we have a Student Success Center on the Elkhorn campus, on the Racine campus, and now we're building out the new center on the Kenosha campus. To do that, we're putting a new front entrance, sort of a new welcome mat, if you will, for students on the Kenosha campus, and we're quite excited about the way it's going to look, and more importantly, the way we're going to be able to deliver traffic flow for students so that they know where those resources are and they can access those resources in a much timelier manner.
It's interesting with the Learning Success Center. I know that you talk to other leaders at area colleges and universities, and what they recognize about Gateway is that we meet people, students, wherever they are at, whether they've been out of school for 20 years, whether they weren't successful in school, or they were straight A, science, math, STEM students. We assess where they're at, and we do have the services to bring them where they need to be.
You're right, Jane. I think that's what makes the Wisconsin Technical College system so unique, and especially what we do at Gateway, because you see changes in economics drives changes in the types of demographics and the people that we serve. So, while we might have had 70 years of really solid manufacturing in the auto industry, that no longer exists in the same fashion, but there's still manufacturing. It's just a different type. It's computers, it's integrated systems, it's robotics, and we have to make those changes in our programs and our facilities to allow new candidates, new students coming through to be able to meet those skill demand changes. But we also serve a wide variety of students. We're probably one of the most diverse colleges in Wisconsin when you think about the number of students we serve and the population that we serve. So it's adult basic ed programs, so individuals that may have not been in school for 20 years or so, coming back to pick up some remedial math courses or some speech classes, or might be a basic science class, so that they can compete for new jobs or accelerate their own career path. To high school students that are excited because it's their first time going off to college and they want to have that college experience, so we're able to generate that link for our students. To the GED program, students that maybe didn't find success at the high school and now have been kind of out of the education market for a while, and we're trying to build an educational platform for them, so we give them their high school equivalency diploma or their GED, and ironically, they could all be in the same class. We could have a high school student with a GED student with someone with a bachelor's degree coming back for recertification in IT. It makes a very diverse learning environment, and I think a really creative opportunity for our students to learn from each other.
And I've heard you say that we're one of the biggest graduate schools around, and I think that that's so true.
Yeah, it's approximately 20% of our student population already have a baccalaureate degree. And, but it's not, it shouldn't surprise a lot of folks because it is a lifelong learning continuum nowadays. So whether you get a degree in business management and then we're promoted to be a supervisor, you might be coming back to Gateway to take our supervisory management course. You might have graduated in information technology from a university, and now the software platforms have changed. So you have to come back to be recertified or retrained in a certain area. It might be that you got a degree in engineering, and again, a new technology has been brought in, like automated systems, and so you want to spend a little time taking some courses at Gateway learning how programmable logical controllers interface with robotic systems. And all of that takes place on a daily basis here at the college, and it's important to recognize the fact that we serve a lot of front-end students, first time or retraining, but also a lot of students that already have their bachelor's and in some case master's degree coming back to learn higher level skill sets or to adapt themselves to the changes within their local companies.
We're going to talk a little bit more in a couple of moments about what makes all of this possible, money, and we'll be talking a little bit about the changes that have occurred in the funding mechanism for technical colleges across the state of Wisconsin. We'll be back with more of Gateway Connections right after this. We're back with Gateway Connections with Dr. Bryan Albrecht from Gateway Technical College. And Bryan, we've been talking about really all the excitement of working with area businesses and keeping our programs not only current, but actually ahead of the curve to help them be productive and to build a labor pool that they can grow with. And we've talked about specific programming and facilities that need to be changed to make that happen. Well, let's go back even a little bit further. It takes money to do that. Now, just recently, we announced in the public hearing for our budget at the beginning of May that we're actually reducing taxes for Gateway Technical College for local property owners. How'd that happen?
Right, yeah, you're so right. It's so important that we appreciate and value the public investment in our college. And I mentioned earlier, 1911 is when Gateway was formed. It's actually considered the first publicly funded two-year college in America. So I have great respect for the communities of Racine, Kenosha, and Walworth County that have made that commitment to ensuring that higher education access is available for our residents. But we've seen a lot of changes over the years. The original intent many, many years ago was that about a third of the cost of the college would be paid for by the state, about a third from the local property tax, and about a third from the students. And over time, of course, things change, and what we had seen is the state's commitment to one-third funding had been diminished. Governor Walker made a big change this year and recommitted the state's investment to the tune of $400 million of what's called local property tax buy-down for all 16 technical colleges. So it basically reduced Gateway's property tax request from the local landowner by 50%. So it was a huge reduction in the investment by the local homeowner, but the amount of money that Gateway receives is the same or similar to what it was last year, just that the state has picked up more of their responsibility. So we're back up to about a 40% investment by the state in Gateway Technical College, and another 30 to 35% by the local property tax holder, and the rest by students. Student tuition and fees are set by the state of Wisconsin, so Gateway doesn't have authority to impose higher tuition costs. So it's the same at Gateway as it would be at Green Bay or La Crosse or Superior or even Milwaukee. But the cost for local delivery of that service might change. So it varies from region of the state by region of the state on what you can actually do with that amount of money you collect from student fees and tuition. But it is important that we recognize the fact that the way Gateway is funded is through public dollars, whether it's local property taxes or whether it's state property taxes, for the vast majority of the services that we provide.
And there has been a big change, the performance-based funding. And I think most people, when they hear that, they think that's a good idea. If they're doing a good job, they should be the ones to get the bigger piece of that pot. Well, from what I've heard, Gateway did quite well in that.
Yeah, certainly at this time, I support performance-based funding. And I've always been proud of what we do at Gateway, and I'm always excited to share with our community our great graduation rates and the job placement satisfaction by our employers. And you know, the services that we provide are adding value to the individual students and, of course, collectively to the entire community. But there are 9 performance measures that the colleges are now gauged against, and each college can pick 7 of those 9. Without going into a lot of detail today, it boiled down to the 7 that Gateway picked were highly recognized when you compared them to the other colleges, and it increased our state funding by $400,000. So we had one of the largest influxes of new money coming to Gateway based on the performance of our students and of our staff and faculty over the last 3 years. So it's a 3-year cumulative score in those 7 categories.
So what we're saying is because we performed well for our local taxpayers, they were rewarded for that.
Exactly. So we outperformed other colleges in adult basic education, as an example. We outperformed other colleges in the support that we provide for our students in retention and graduation, and we outperformed our other college peers in the area of college recruitment, so high school students coming directly to Gateway. So all of those indicators were measured against the other 15 colleges, and then you were ranked, and there was a dollar value given to where you fell within that ranking. And for Gateway, like I mentioned, it was $400,000. That was 10% of the state's allocation for performance-based funding. Next year that goes to 20%, so we have to maintain that high level of performance and increase performance in areas of which we didn't achieve quite as well as I think we could, so we can continue to grow our pool of funding for Gateway. And when that happens, that means less requests for the local homeowner because we're getting more support from the state. So it's a win-win for everyone. We perform better, our students receive the rewards from that, and our local property taxes continue to go down as a result. And
I know taxpayers are saying, well, I pay state taxes too, what are you talking about? But I think what we want to say is that their investment is coming back to Gateway rather than their investment going to some other college because of the way Gateway's performing.
Right. You know, we often talk about that, especially from an industry perspective, that, you know, are we getting enough international trade coming to our community? So as our dollar flow going out, or is our dollar flow coming in? And in this scenario with Gateway and performance-based funding, the dollars are flowing into our district. So we're capitalizing on the success of our students, and we're capitalizing on the model that has been put in place for Wisconsin's performance. But ultimately, I think we're capitalizing because we're able to create those business partnerships where we're able to create the talent pipeline so our students are getting the right skills, they're nationally competitive, and they're working in our home community, which means they will ultimately be the next generation of homeowners, which means that's the tax base for Gateway, and we continue the cycle as we go through trying to help educate generation after generation.
So you've got a lot of balls to keep juggling up in the air, that's for sure, to make all of that happen. And in our last 2 minutes, can you tell me what your 1 or 2 very top goals are over the next year?
Yeah, I think, well, one certainly is continue to be transparent in our community, whether it's a building project, a new program expansion, or the way we're funded through our taxes, to make sure that our community understands what Gateway is, sort of its history, and what it means to our community to sustain the workforce. The second is to really be a strong advocate for our students. The diversity of our students is remarkable. The special interests that our students have, so whether it's through a student success initiative or through a retention initiative, but to really celebrate those students that have chosen Gateway as their first point of contact for higher education. Because we know ultimately if they live in our community, at some point they'll come back, whether it's for advanced training as an adult, or they'll have some level of experience to share with others in our community about the value that Gateway provides for the investments that everyone's making.
Well, we certainly are honored to have the students that we do, and that they always speak so highly about their experience working with our instructors, working with the administrators, the level of service that they're provided.
Yeah, I'm quite proud of our students in the way that we're able to provide those support systems for our students. They become our ambassadors. They are what Gateway is within our community, so we try to create a brand or a Gateway experience that's going to add value to the individual student, and if that happens, they will go out and tell that story to others, and that will continue to help us become a greater point of access within our community. So while we serve 24,000 plus students, I would like to serve 30,000 students, and how do we do that? One person at a time, and we help them understand how education, especially higher education, can add value to their personal lives and to their career success, and Gateway's the community college that can help make that happen.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today
My
and for
pleasure.
staying with
My
us.
pleasure. I'm glad to be here.
We have been talking with Dr. Bryan Albrecht, President of Gateway Technical College, and I'm Jane Herring, thanking you for joining us today on Gateway Connection.